like a cloud in an endless sky, like a lotus in muddy water, we live in the pure mind of a Buddha. Aurora borealis, the icy sky at night, paddles cut the water in a long and hurried flight. From the white man to the fields of green, to the homeland we've never seen. Happy Independence Day. Happy Interdependence Day. Happy Interdependency Day. As all things are Buddha Dharma, there is delusion and realization, practice, birth and death. And there are Buddhas and sentient beings. That civilization may not sink, its great battle lost. Quiet the dog. Tether the pony to a distant post. Our master, Caesar, is in the tent where the maps are spread. His eyes fixed upon nothing. A hand under his head. Like the long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. To carry yourself forward and experience myriad things is delusion. Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor coming, saying something about a queen. These knights in armor would have been 300 or 400 years before Lieutenant Bligh and 20 or so non-mutineers were forced into a little rowboat to navigate the Pacific Ocean to a place of safety. And these knights in armor would have been 1.5 millennia or so before the initial plans to set up a colony on Mars. And perhaps only 2 centuries before Perseus 9 got stuck around a star. in a maze of death. Well, I dreamed I saw the knights in armor coming, saying something about a queen. There were peasants singing and drummers drumming, and the archer split the tree. There was a fanfare blowing to the sun that was floating on the breeze. Looking at Mother Nature on the run in the 1970s. Every thread of creation is held in position, creation. Perhaps if we use nature, or in Spinoza's language, God. Every thread of God, every thread of nature. The song goes, every thread of creation is held in position by still other strands of things living. On an earthly tapestry hung from the skyline of smouldering cities, so grey and so vulgar as not being content with their own negativity, but needing to touch all the living as well. Look at Mother Nature on the run in the 1970s. As the myriad things are without an abiding self, there is no delusion, no realization, no Buddha, no sentient being, no birth and death. That the topmost towers be burned, and men recall that face, Helen of Troy. Move most gently, if move you must, in this lonely place, the wooden horse. She thinks, part woman, 3 parts a child. Mary Poppins, or the young queen. She thinks that nobody looks, while her feet practice a tinker shuffle picked up on the street. Like the long-legged fly upon the stream. Her mind moves upon silence. That myriad things come forth and experience themselves as awakening. Those who have great realization of delusion are Buddhas. Those who are greatly deluded about realization are sentient beings. I was lying in a burned out basement. I wonder if it was Vietnam. With the full moon in my eyes, I was hoping for replacement when the sun burst through the sky. There was a band playing in my head, and I felt like getting high. I was thinking about what a friend had said. I was hoping it was a lie. Thinking about what a friend had said. I was hoping it was a lie. As all things are Buddha Dharma, there is delusion and realization, practice, birth, and death. And there are Buddhas and sentient beings. As the myriad things are without an abiding self, there is no delusion, no realization, no Buddha, no sentient being, no birth, no death. The Buddha way is basically leaping clear of the many and the one. Thus, there are birth and death, delusion and realization, sentient beings and Buddhas. Yet in attachment, blossoms fall, and in aversion, weeds spread. That girls at puberty may find the first Adam in their thoughts. Shut the door to the Pope's chapel. Keep those children out. Up there upon the scaffolding reclines Michelangelo, with no more sound than the mouse makes. His hand moves to and fro, like the long-legged fly upon the stream. His mind moves upon silence. Further, there are those who continue realizing beyond realization, who are in delusion throughout delusion. When Buddhas are truly Buddhas, they do not necessarily notice that they are Buddhas. However, they are actualized Buddhas who go on actualizing Buddhas. The Buddha said, "What do you think, Subhuti?" My mistake. He didn't say that. "Tell me, Subhuti," the Buddha said, "do those who find the river think, 'I have attained the goal of finding the river'?" Subhuti replied, "No, indeed, Blessed One. Those who find the river do not think, 'I have attained the goal of finding the river.'" "And why not?" "Blessed One, they do not find any such dharma. Thus are they said to find the river." They live unhappily. Who has nothing to venerate and obey. But what monk or Brahmin or Dharma is there under whom or which I could live, honoring and respecting? But I do not see in this world, with its deities, its maras, its divinities, its corporations, its politics, its isms and religions, with all its princes and men. I do not see anyone whom I could live under, honoring and obeying. But there is this Dharma that I have discovered. Suppose I lived under that, honoring and respecting that. Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships flying. Maybe in the not too distant future. Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships flying in the yellow haze of the sun. There were children crying and colors flying all around the chosen ones. Parting is such sweet sorrow. All in a dream, all in a dream. The loading had begun. They were flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. Flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. further, there are those who continue realizing beyond realization, who are in delusion throughout delusion. When Buddhas are truly Buddhas, they do not necessarily notice that they are Buddhas. However, they are actualized Buddhas who go on actualizing Buddhas. When you see forms or hear sounds fully engaging body and mind, you grasp things directly. Unlike things and their reflections in the mirror, and unlike the moon and its reflection in the water, when one side is illuminated, the other side is dark. What do you think of the COVID-19? Said Ted. And Dougal replied, "Oh, they're all innocent, Ted. They're all innocent. All those who have died are innocent. All those who have tried are innocent. All those who have survived are innocent." You and I are innocent, and we take full responsibility. This noble life is difficult in the beginning, difficult in the middle, and difficult at the end. And we vow to see it through to the end. Even if there is no end. To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad beings, myriad things. That myriad things come forth and experience themselves is awakening. When actualized by myriad things, your body and mind, as well as the bodies and minds of others, drop away. No trace of realization remains. And this no trace continues endlessly. When Buddhas are truly Buddhas, they do not necessarily notice that they are Buddhas. However, they are actualized Buddhas who go on actualizing Buddhas. When you ride in a boat and watch the shore, Lieutenant Bly might be listening, you might assume that the shore is moving. It's easier if you're on a train, but trains came later. But when you keep your eyes closely on the boat or train, you can see that the boat or train moves. Can you? Similarly, if you examine myriad things with a confused body and mind, you might suppose that your mind and nature are permanent. You might suppose that. When you practice intimately and return to where you are, it will be clear that nothing at all has unchanging self. As the myriad things are without an abiding self, there is no delusion, no realization, no Buddha, no sentient being, no birth and death. Happy Interdependency Day. Happy Independence Day. Firewood becomes ash, and it does not become firewood again. Yet do not suppose that the ash is future and the firewood past. You should understand that firewood abides in the phenomenal expression of firewood, which fully includes past and future, and is independent of past and future. Emigration, born of famine, born of war, born of plague, tumultuous times, social unrest, What if none of it is true? When you watch a movie, you are sometimes asked to suspend your disbelief. When you ask yourself, what if none of this is true? The invitation is not to explore or indulge in conspiracy theories or alternative narratives. The invitation is to suspend your belief. And in that momentary suspension of belief, there is a flicker, a microsecond, a vanishing vision of things as it really is. But how do we suspend our belief? And when will we suspend our belief? Like a cloud in an endless sky, like a lotus in muddy water, we live in the pure mind of Buddha. This noble life, this noble path is wonderful in the beginning, wonderful in the middle, and wonderful at the end. Zen Master Baoche of Mount Mayu was fanning himself. A monk approached and said, "Master, the nature of wind is permanent, and there is no place it does not reach. Why then do you fan yourself? Although you understand the nature of wind is permanent," Baoche replied, "you do not understand the meaning of its reaching everywhere." "What is the meaning of its reaching everywhere?" asked the monk. The master just kept fanning. The monk bowed deeply. The actualization of the Buddha Dharma, the vital path of its correct transmission, is like this. If you say that you do not need to fan yourself because the nature of wind is permanent and you can have wind without fanning, you'll understand neither permanence nor the nature of wind. The nature of wind is permanent. Because of that, the wind of the Buddha's house brings forth the gold of the earth and makes fragrant the cream of the long river. May we practice endlessly, forever, and find our peaceful life. Thank you very much.